So yeah, hello guys, my name is Jure. Today alongside me it's a wonderful talent, you know her by the name Nadirah X. So yeah, let's start with some simple questions like, can you introduce to our followers who Nadirah X really is?
Who Nadirah X is? Okay, first I'm a daughter, a mother, a wife, a friend, a poet, yeah, and a rapper, a lover of music, pretty much.
So yeah, you've been here in Slovenia for like over a month now.
Yeah, 2 months. Well, back and forth, but over a 2-month period, yes.
You came as part of the tour of Italy, Watson.
Italy and Tariman, yeah.
So what's your impression of our country, Slovenia, and people here?
Beautiful people, and getting to know only Ljubljana and Maribor so far, so hopefully next year I get to know more, but it's a beautiful culture and very expressive people, especially the group that I've been around, and very giving and very loving and caring.
During this time you had a couple of performances here also on Overjam, which is our biggest festival in the country. You performed there with Kazam Davis, Trickstar, Tariman. What is your opinion?
War 21.
War 21, yeah, of course.
That was
that was wicked, yeah.
The surprise. Both were. Yes, Tariman asked me to come on his set, and so we did the beach party, and then while I was in the audience having fun, the guys from War 21, who I know from Jamaica, invited me on the rail to perform, and so I sat up there and performed, and then Trickstar saw that performance and asked myself and Kazam to join her in her set, so it was a quite filling Overjam.
What do you think of the festival?
I had a great time. And did not expect to camp for the week. So the camping was a little bit rough, but it was still a wonderful experience. The camping is only rough because when you get back to your camp at 2-3 in the morning, the dancehall stage is gonna go till 6, so you hardly sleep. Let's just say I didn't sleep for the week.
Yeah, that's festival.
But big up Trickstar, because I performed on the show and she was like, hey, here's a hotel room, and so I got like this night of sleep, but it away from the dancehall thumping, but it was good.
What do you think about people, the visitors? Like, do you think they come there like to listen to reggae or just party, or?
From what I gathered, they were enjoying the music. They were there to enjoy the music. And the performances, and especially the main stage had the Kimanis and the Freddie McGregor and these guys, and so from what I gathered at being at every show was that, including myself, we were there to just have fun and enjoy the music.
Because they think like the youths nowadays, do they understand the message that music, especially reggae, brings? Like all these old artists like Jacob Miller, Dennis Brown, even Bob Marley, they had something more. They brought us message, not just entertainment.
Yeah.
You think that youth nowadays, they understand that, or is more like?
I think they do understand it. I think we underestimate the capacity of our youth. I think they do understand it. They do want to have fun, but I think when they hear a certain kind of music, they're tuned in to hear the message.
Because you're a conscious artist also yourself.
Yeah, I'm awake. I'm conscious.
So your lyrics also bring us messages. It's not like you have some message always like dignity and here comes the rain. You talk about youth, how they teach them, and so I think if you think that they understand, I guess they must. Like.
Yeah, even throughout the tour, the song I used to close my set is "Tough Life." And it really is talking about getting through your day-to-day struggles, but it's gonna be all right. And I thought that was a good song to end each show with, and it was, and you could tell they were listening, And I get messages hey, I really love that song, or I love Fire, or any of these songs I perform. They're all message driven, but also a little bit empowering, and they get the message, I think.
So let's get back to you a bit. I want to touch a subject. We were talking about it 2 days ago or yesterday, I don't know. I was pretty fascinated about it because I personally didn't know, and I think most of the people in Slovenia also don't know, but your next project, when you're gonna come back home to the States, it's not gonna be an album, but it's gonna be a book.
No, it's gonna be an album too. What I did with what happened with the first album that was released with Dave Stewart's label, Weapons of Mass Entertainment, is the idea of a lot of my lyrics start out as poems. I write the poem first. It's just a thought, a flow just happening, and I write it, and then sometimes a beat presents itself, or sometimes I'll be writing on a track produced already, or just a bare minimum, but everything is like poetry in my head. It's like a story, and I need to just say these things. And so Dave Stewart thought it would be a good idea to put out a book to accompany the album. So the book itself is also called Ink, the first book, and we're very proud of that project. We had we asked. Because I had worked with Deepak Chopra before, and asked him to do the foreword to the book. Dave made the call, and he read some of the poems and agreed, and that was a huge step for us. And Dave did the introduction, and Glenn Ballard did the afterword, and we got a lot of blurbs from a lot of amazing people like Harry Belafonte and Anna Visi and Mick Jagger and Joss Stone and all these people. So the second book is even more exciting for me, and it's accompanying the new album as well.
Nice.
I don't know if that's a continuous trend, but I think I also write some poems that won't become music, won't become a song, and those are great to share too. And it's gonna have imagery. All the imagery from the last book was done by Dave and Corey Bundy, and the front cover by Robin Davey. And now this one is gonna, the inside photos are gonna be done by me.
So, like personal book.
Yeah, it's there's a gap and there's a journey happening, and I think I like the very intimate documenting of it myself now. Yeah.
Nice. So I already mentioned you are a producer, rapper, poet. Your music can even be heard in some new movies. But what is your personal biggest achievement? What is that you're most proud of, musically wise?
Musically?
What is that you know that this is the biggest thing you did for yourself, not for public?
Myself.
Like,
there's a lot of big things. They're all so. To me, each project that I was introduced to and each project that I've had the opportunity to work on are in themselves so individual. They're so, in their own space. So that's a very difficult question to answer.
It's like one project that you're like really, really proud of.
I can't name one.
Too many of them.
I can't name one. Because they're all, working with Jimmy Cliff on his album, working with Annie Lennox on her album, that song made it into a movie, and working with Dave Stewart for all those years brought a lot of exciting things, just being around him, and he's a mover, so did a project with my husband. It's like all these things it's difficult to say, this one was more that, working on Alfie with Joss Stone and Mick Jagger, and it's working with Mudbone from P-Funk on our own album called Fresh Mud. It's a lot of projects, and also doing Greenpeace and Peace One Day and Dignity and all of these other projects. They're all so singular. They're all a part of who I am, so I can't. I could go on and on, but I can't.
Let me rephrase that. Was there any moment in your musical career that you thought, okay, that's too much, I don't want to do this? Like, did you ever struggle? Like, did you
You
ever
mean
have
just
doubts?
get to a point where I didn't want to do it? Absolutely.
How did you?
Like a few years ago.
How did you manage to get across that? I mean, what driven you forward that you're still doing?
My husband.
Husband.
Yeah.
Like
John.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just. Hey, I have this track. You want to listen to it?
So
yeah, I have this track.
Maybe we can here we can mention. You already mentioned that you had a project with your husband.
Yes.
It's called Mr. and Mrs.
Mr. and Mrs. Yeah. Named by Dave Stewart. He was like, you guys should work together. This is...
It's an EP with 6 songs, but it's been released in 2012. Mm-hmm. So when can we expect something more? Is there anything happening? Or that was one-time project?
I don't know. I don't know. We're both doing 2 projects right now. And he's producing, along with Glenn Ballard, my new album, and he's producing his album, and he's making tracks for other people. So I try to book my time in with him to see what's happening. But Mr. and Mrs. is there; it exists. So if we think about doing another project, then
actually got pretty good reviews and everything when it came out.
Yes,
I checked. So
you did.
I automatically assumed
that we would, yes.
like follow
up. Maybe, but we'll see. We'll see. We're both working on 2 different things right now, and there's a lot working on. And as I said, for a few years there, I was. You as an artist, you kind of need to live, I think, and need to go through things and need to experience things, and I think his timing was right, and yeah, I'm excited about the new project.
And you can't rush art.
Huh?
You can't rush art.
No, you can't rush art, and you also have to live a little to speak about the things. Yeah.
So if you go a bit back, you already mentioned movies. Your music was in Alfie, where Jude Law was starring.
Yeah.
Also in Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
How can you get to that point? I mean, those were big movies like Hollywood. How can you come to Hollywood, not even mention Coca-Cola ad or Nokia campaign? I mean, how can you reach that level?
Work. Great team. From the moment I met Dave Stewart, he had great vision for me, and also I had great vision for myself. And then when you can sit with a team of people and discuss things, but it also happened organically. The discussion in terms of the songs getting into movies is. Let's just say 1,000 songs were pitched. You know what I mean? It's not like we walk in the room or Dave goes, here is these songs and put them in the movie. It's not quite how it works, We have to constantly be pitching songs. Constantly. The Alfie song wasn't a pitch. The song I did was actually the first song ever recorded for that project. And that happened in LA. And I was having dinner with the director, and Dave said, "Oh, we're gonna need, we should have a song and da da da." And we kind of wrote something. And then when the movie was getting ready to come out, I had just had my daughter, and 2 months later, Dave was like, "Hey, so you gotta fly to London and make it, and we're gonna record this thing." But in between that, there was also a lot of pitching of songs, and I was just very, very fortunate to have met, Annie Lennox and have her say, "Hey, would you like to be on this song?" And
so
it's
a bit of luck and a lot of work.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like work when it's happening, unless you sit and look back at your resume and then you go, "Oh wow, done a lot of things," but still haven't done a lot of things, So I would say I'm very fortunate because I had really good thinking people around me. or have really good thinking people around me, and who are always pushing me to excel, and I always wanted to do different things. So I'm very excited to explore and experiment.
We already mentioned briefly Italy. She was here with you in Slovenia. There's this anecdote when she was meditating in forest, in mountains. You applied her on a contest without her knowing or anything.
I did.
What
She
was
told you that one?
Yeah, she told me.
Yeah,
what was the reason of it? What driven you to apply?
I love her. I love her. I think she's amazing. So when you have a friend who you've had for many, many years, I couldn't find her. She just kind of disappeared and locked off all the phones. And so we all go on with our lives, you know. And so one day I was trying to get to my friend, and I was trying to get to my friend. I was like, I haven't heard from Italy. It's been like, whoa, this is a big period to not hear from your friend. And then one friend said, hey, guess who I saw in the city? And I got the number. And then we started communicating. And maybe a couple years, a year and a half later, this opportunity from Take Back the Mic that was created by Derek Ashong and Jonathan Gramlin presented itself, and it was called the World Cup of Hip Hop. And they were traveling. They were going to take contestants from Jamaica, Colombia, I believe Brazil, and somewhere else. But it's like 5 people from each country. Then they narrow it down, and you have to vote. And I just had this confidence, like Italy's.
Yeah, she almost won it.
She's incredible. So I said, I called my friend, I said, how do we enter this thing, you know? And so after everything was already entered, I go, hey, so Aita, you're in this thing and you have to now get back to your music, you know, kind of. She's like, what? I said, now this thing is happening. And I rallied all my friends and was like, okay, listen to this young lady. What do you think? Oh, she's amazing. Vote. You know, and so yeah.
She finished second, right?
Second, yes.
Almost.
Oh, they all were winners at the end. They were on the stage. It's from different countries. It was a beautiful night in Miami, you know, and it was well produced, and it was very exciting. I was happy, and my dad was there, and her mom was there, so it was all exciting.
So you already mentioned you and Italy are like really good friends in private life,
like
also.
Sisters, yeah.
Where does this friendship, where does it have its roots? Like, I've seen the pristine chemistry, I've really seen it, so I presume it's long lasting by now, but
yeah.
Where did it start? Like,
I was, there's a school called KC, Kingston College in Jamaica, and I was coming up. My name was Nads at the time. People still call me Nads. And I was in a group called Decode with my friend Shakira. And we were on stage doing this barbecue thing before the stars come on, you know, the Italis and those people. So I was rapping, and I got off. And she, this is how I met her. She held my arm. She said, man, you're a star, you know? Yeah, man. May I have a friend? Something like that. And we've been friends ever since.
So it was love on first sight.
Yes. We're just, energies click, you know, and people who you could just be honest and free and open with is not very often happening. You don't just meet people and then you click and you can have like a sisterhood. Like her mom is my mom is her mom. We're family, you know. Her kids and my kids play. My daughter plays, so you know.
So if I can seize the moment and ask you about another friend of yours, when we were on Overdram, you really surprised me and passed me the, for my opinion, one of the greatest MC in the business, if not the. But let's leave that. You also have one of your latest projects is with him.
Yeah.
We're talking about great Tip Irie, of course.
Yes, Tipa.
How is it to work?
Mr. Anthony Henry.
How is it to work with, I don't know, such a legend, such established and also talented artist? I mean,
He's just a great man.
Who called who? Did you invite him?
No, so I was working with Mike Bradford on my years ago. I think I'm at Tipa 2007, 2008, somewhere around 2007, I believe. And he was in LA working with Michael Bradford, who's an amazing producer, produced Kid Rock's first album, Uncle Cracker, Miley Cyrus, you name it, Anita Baker. So I was working with him, and he said, Tipa Irie is in town. Of course, I knew who he was because it's Tipa Irie, and he's gonna come up and you guys should meet. And so we met at the studio, and Mike Bradford worked on the track "We Love Life," and we recorded it, and we just clicked, you know. And he's just a good man, you know. And so when he came back to LA after that, he came by my home, and my husband made his first ever dancehall beat. And I said, "Hey, Tipa, you like this?" He said, "Yeah, man." And we wrote something there in the apartment, and recorded it. And these are all like years ago, you know. And then we just kept putting things together until we have other songs that are not on this project. But he's a great friend and a wonderful person, and there's no pressure applied. It's kind of just like we're two people. It's a click thing. It's a click thing, and he's really just a good guy, good spirit, and he just wants to do the music, and we laugh and talk, and it's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, he sounded really nice also on the phone.
He's very nice. Yeah, he's a very nice man.
I believe that.
I'm happy you're a fan.
Yeah. How come you not be like?
Yeah, no, Tipa is top of top at his craft.
Also his freestyles and.
Yeah, I gotta take a page or two out of that, man. That guy can.
Like you said, it's good to have the feeling you're the best.
It's good to have the feeling you're the best. Yes.
So yeah, like, who was your influence when you were growing up in music? Was there some artist you like especially look after, or?
You know, I always tell the same story. It's like when I was growing up, my parents had this eclectic mix of music from jazz to reggae to rock. It was, you know, pop. It was always in the house, always playing. My dad had a Technics, you know, record player, and he bought records. And then, as I said, my older brother Junior, who was a DJ at the time, he collected records. So there was always music, you know. So we're listening to Tom Jones, and then Jimmy Cliff, and then Michael Jackson. You know, it's like it's. But when I fell in love with delivery on dancehall or reggae beats, I heard Lady G. Fell in love with hearing a female. I heard Lady G. I can't remember him, no spreading the rumor. Just really listening to it, just really know at that age, because of course, you know, Sister Nancy and all these people, but just really sitting down as a kid now with my own headphones, not hearing that on my parents' thing. I was like, oh wow, this is dope and everything. But then I found connection as I got through high school with Queen Latifah's Black Rain album and listening to MC Light and that kind of delivery. And so I'd say just that hip hop influenced me a little bit more in wanting to say what was in my head.
To express yourself. To
express myself. It was like, I guess that's, you know, I got hooked on it. But I also love, you know, Lady Saw, and I love, you know, those very like...
You're from Jamaica, that's
man, when you those people write a rhythm, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, and then I'm a huge fan of Tanya Stevens. Like, but of course that came, you know, later on. She's
She has
amazing.
some powerful lyrics.
She's a writer. She's a poet. She's telling you this story. Huge fan of Diana King. Huge fan of all these Jamaican female artists. You know.
Is there like your favorite rapper, or could you like pick one artist that is like your favorite, or singer,
Favorite rapper?
Rapper, singer, like
Favorite.
which
female.
artist is playing on your phone the most?
Lauren Hill is playing on my phone the most.
Let me
And
guess.
Erica Badu.
Nice. Wicked voice. Love it.
But I also there's Jasmine Sullivan, and I have a huge mix of music going on,
Yeah, I mean,
and Andra Day, you know. So
yeah, I mean there's good and there's bad music. That's not like genre.
there's just good music. There's a lot of good music in my phone.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, like we mentioned, you work with Dave Stewart, with Josh Stone, Mick Jagger, Annie Lennox, Jimmy Cliff, Natalie Imbruglia, write a book, you produce rap. Like, where's the limit for Nadirah? Like,
I don't know.
Because it sounds like
I don't
you
put
almost
limits.
did like everything. Like,
I didn't yet though.
but yeah, like you still have
I got
that
more to
hunger
go.
for more.
Oh, well, now I do. You know, now I'm in the mood. You know,
Yeah.
now I feel like I'm always doing something. I super enjoy being a mom.
Of course. I mean,
I enjoy
It's
being
natural.
a mom. I enjoy being a wife. I enjoy the cooking, and I like the things. You know, it feels real. It's tangible. It's, you know. But I'm an artist, so where do I go? I don't know. I might paint something.
that's something new.
I might have an exhibition
Yeah, next year.
in Maribor.
Yeah, that's already set up.
I might have an exhibition. We will see, because I might just.
Why not?
Why not? I have a lot of photos of you, right? That might be might need to be blown up to life size.
So yeah, I mean, for the end, is there like anything you would like to? Is there a message you would like to pass on to our followers? And
Keep following reggae.si, and I think it's very cliche, we say all the time, but it is true that you should stay steadfast in your dream. You have to. You have to fall in love with your dream, and you don't stop.
true work.
And it's cliche. I mean, everybody tells you this. Yeah, you got to keep pushing. It is real. Because if you don't, then you stop living. So whatever your passion is, find it and do it and unlock your brave. Plug for today, I'm brave.
Yeah, well, thanks Nadirah for taking your time. It's been a pleasure.